Hello, welcome. Today we're talking about the Pentax 6.7. In this video I share my first images shot with the Pentax 6.7 during a photo shoot in the Netherlands. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. On this channel we're normally talking about Leicas, Leica cameras, Leica lenses, anything Leica related, but I do shoot with more than just Leica. When it comes to digital cameras, my preference is Leica. That could be the Leica SL, Leica CL, Leica M cameras, or even Leica Q. But when it comes to film, things get much more interested, and I do believe that you shouldn't really limit yourself to just Leica cameras, especially if you want to, say, play with medium format cameras. On an average photo shoot, I'm normally shooting Leica digital to pay the models in digital pictures, and then I shoot film for myself. I'm often shooting with Leica M film cameras and also, say, Leica 3 cameras, but also non-Leica 35mm cameras too. In addition to 35mm, I own medium format and large format cameras, and I'd say my most used medium format camera in recent times is the Hasselblad. Leica film cameras are amazing, but you've only got the size of a 35mm negative. If you want more real estate or bigger negatives, you need to shoot a bigger format, and my choice is often Hasselblad, but I do have other cameras too. What I might try and do in videos going forward is maybe share one different camera per month, Hasselblad, Mamiyas, various things, just to make the channel a bit more interesting. If you've got any film camera requests, make a note in the comments below, but also check out the MrLeica.com blog, where I have reviewed many of the popular film cameras. If you saw this old YouTube video where I visited the Flint auction house, I got a first look at the Pentax. So this is a Pentax 6.7, which most people think are a bit of a tank of a camera in terms of they are very weighty compared to the small Leicas that I tend to use. But I have scrawny arms anyway, but this is definitely heavier than a Pentax 6.7 with the wooden grip. So it's kind of like, as I say, I've never actually used a Pentax. The viewfinder is actually really nice. And I know they're SLR cameras rather than the rangefinder cameras that I normally use, but maybe it's someday, at some point, I might have to get a Pentax to try. This month, my Pentax 6.7 dreams were finally answered. I was teaching a Leica workshop in the Netherlands, and Hide, one of my awesome patrons, kindly offered to let me try his Pentax 6.7 to shoot a couple of rolls during our model shoots. We loaded the camera up with a roll of 120. Hide kindly fitted the camera with the famous 105 2.4 portrait lens, and I was going to try and see what this lens can do for my portrait style pictures. With the film loaded, I was ready to shoot. Before we take a look at the pictures, I just want to say a huge thanks to my awesome patrons, and in particular Hide and Thomas, for making this video possible. Okay, what you're about to see is an insight to what happens during my Leica workshops or model photography workshops, and also some of the footage that I share on Patreon. We're shooting with available light only, no reflectors, so the first thing you need to do is work out the pose. You can see me talking the model through the pose that's in my head, kind of mirror posing. I kind of show her the pose and then she can just copy it. You can see me talking through the pose and explaining the idea on my head, and the final picture is what I'm trying to frame up. I'm going to do full first. I'm going to come like first look down your feet. That's it. There. Yeah. Right, give me 1 second. It's going to feel weird, but can you like smile at your feet? So exactly the same face, but a smile. More happy. Yeah. Okay, first frame done. I was shooting, I believe it's around f4 125th per second, ISO 80, because it's expired Ilford FP4+, and so I overexposed it by 1 stop because it's roughly 10 years old. I'm now talking the model through the next pose and explaining the idea in my head. I wanted to get closer to get a shallow depth of field to try to get some bokeh from the trees in the background. By posing her how I've done, there's light on the front of her face, and so that'll give me like an edge light or a profile light. Then I'm trying to get close enough to get the shallow depth of field, but far enough back to make it kind of a sensible crop, if that makes sense. I'm coming in closer for a profile headshot, focusing on the nearest eye as I would do on any portrait picture. You can see from the bokeh this is also shot at f4. You can see how amazing you look to them. You'll be so happy.
Yeah, let me see the shot. Oh, nice.
Super.
Yeah. Best one yet.
Yeah. What we're doing wrong at the moment, quick tip.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I'll focus on your face. If you're a bum shots kind of guy, you can't see your bum because we're cutting it off by this.
Yeah.
Move here.
So yeah, by being here or further down, you'll see the curves better. Yeah, that's good. See the light on the face, front lit, so you get really good placement. Good. So try swapping hand. No, that's not going to work. Yeah. Can't decide. Try to keep both hands. Yeah, do that. Okay. Waiting on you, level. Now try and laugh at your feet. Happy. Despite me pranking around, this photo came out quite nicely. Sorry.
This camera is disturbing my
feet are so
palm.
heavy now. She's fine.
For the next photo, I wanted to try a different angle. I'm still shooting, I believe, f4 because I'm not sure how sharp the lens is at 2.4, sorry. And also my eyesight isn't great. I wear glasses for driving and I don't wear glasses when taking pictures. Also, this photo is maybe one stop overexposed, so I'll try shooting now from the other side to get a light on the far side of the face, which is how I prefer to shoot. Now I've moved around again, but I've moved the head. So now I'm trying to play with glasses. Sunglasses make a great prop for portraits. You can use them obviously on the eyes when it's bright, on the head to hold the hair back, and in the hand just to make a variation of the pose. From the book, I believe this is now shot wide open at 2.4. As with all my model photo shoots, I'm very kind of prescriptive in terms of the poses, and I'm talking them through every single pose and then saying what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And so in this instance, you can see the light on the front of the face and on the front of the legs. Then I'm trying to shoot along the length of the fence or railings to give me a leading line into the portrait. And then by having the eyes looking at me, the final shot, you get brighter eyes like that, and that's a style I use a lot in my portrait photos. Okay, it's time to try a different pose. This time we're going to use the railings to lean on, and then it's up to me whether to go closer for more bokeh, shallow depth of field portraits, or to go further back to get full body leg shots. I generally shoot half body with my portraits a lot of the time, so I'm generally more inclined to go closer. For this photo, again, I shot the lens wide open f2.4, and you can always tell by looking at the bokeh in the background. If it's round without edges, it's wide open at 2.4. The light's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Okay, and down to my final frame. I had to make it count, so I was like, right, if I get the model to lean on the railing so she doesn't move, I'll focus as close as I can and get like an eye shot. Here's a photo wide open at 2.4. This lens just melts the background and it is very flattering for portraits. That's a wrap with our first model. Okay, for the second half of the day, I got the chance to shoot one more roll of film in the Pentax 6.7. This time with models Mila and Anna, who we had both at the same time. I haven't got as much behind the scenes footage, but here are some photos. This photo is shot at f4, and look how sharp the eyes are. Here you can see the outfit that Mila was wearing, but this was in a different location. Here's another photo, again f4, love the results. And again f4, this one slightly dark. Last frame, frame number 5 with Mila, happy with the results. Okay, I also had 5 frames of the same roll to shoot with Anna, who's Mila's friend. Here's the first shot, I believe f4 because I'm shooting at a wall, so there's no point shooting wide open. Again f4, I believe 125th of a second. Here's Anna in the dress that she was wearing with Thomas. This might be at f2.4. And this also may be f2.4 or f4. The question is, what do I do with my negatives? Print or scan? If you follow me on social media, say Instagram, you'll know from my story reels that I developed my own film. Here's a batch of black and white 120 film that I developed, including the rolls shot in the Netherlands. Here you can see the size of a 6x7 negative. They are huge. You can see 10 negatives from one roll of film. Normally I scan on my negatives with an Epson V800 scanner, but if you watch part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you printing my negatives in a darkroom. Here to final prints, as you may recognise from the cover of this video. Before we finish, I just want to cover the topic Pentax 6.7 or Mamiya RZ 6.7. If you're a long time follower on, say, Flickr, you know that I've used the RZ67 since about 2013, I believe. It's bigger than a Hasselblad. It's definitely bigger than a Leica. I'd say it's roughly 3 times bigger than a Leica camera, as you can see here. If we compare the Mamiya RZ67 to the Pentax 6.7, both cameras are roughly the same weight. If you get the Pentax, you have access to the famous 105 2.4 lens. If you get the Mamiya, you have a 110 2.8 lens. I went for the Mamiya RZ instead of the Pentax because it's got a 400th of a second flash sync speed compared to only 30th of a second with the Pentax. If you follow me for a while on YouTube, you may have seen my Mamiya RZ67 video. RZ Pro 2. You slide this lever and there's your film back. I've shot quite a few portraits with the Mamiya RZ67 or RZ67. So if you want to check out that video, I can link it here next.